Hi, this is Kris Peters for the Hampton History Museum, and today we're going to take a look at the matchlock muskets that would have been used by the English garrison at Fort Algernon. Now, most people today are more familiar with flintlock muskets, like the kind used during the American Revolution. This weapon is a matchlock. The lock of a firearm is where the moving parts are that create the ignition to set off the weapon. This gun uses a piece of burning rope called match to ignite the gunpowder. It goes into this little clamp on the side of the gun, and when you pull the trigger, it lowers that match down into the gunpowder to set it off. So I'm going to walk you through the process for loading the weapon, and then I'm going to fire a round for you. The gunpowder is stored in the little bottles you see hanging on this belt. This is called a bandolier. It's actually the term that's still used for belts that hold ammunition today. Soldiers still use bandoliers in the modern world. They just look a little bit different from this one. Each bottle holds one charge of gunpowder, and so it's called a charger. Down in the leather pouch, I have my bullets. So the first step in this process is to make sure that the pan is empty, and then I'm going to take some of the powder out of one of the bottles at the bottom, or maybe a powder flask. I'm going to tap that into the pan to fill it up. I'm going to close the pan, shake off any loose powder, and then drop the gun down to the ground. Then I'm going to take one of the chargers up at the top of the belt, and I'm going to go in order down the length of the belt as I reload. I'm going to pop the top, pour that powder down the barrel, reach into the leather pouch, and pull out a bullet like this one. So there's one of the round lead balls that this weapon would fire. That goes down on top of the powder. I pull out the scouring stick. They don't call it a ramrod yet. I put that down the barrel, pack everything in, put the scouring stick back underneath, bring the weapon up, take the match from between my fingers, blow the ash off to make sure it's nice and hot, put it into the serpentine. Now I'm going to test it to make sure that it actually goes where I want it to. Now that I've got it lined up, I bring the gun up, open the pan, pull the trigger, and boom. Then you would reload. A trained musketeer in the 17th century was expected to fire 2 to 3 rounds a minute and should be able to hit a man-sized target out to 100 yards. So now I'm actually going to load the weapon up and fire off a round for you. And there we have the matchlock musket. Now, during the American Revolution, muskets had bayonets that could be attached to them so that after you'd fired a few rounds, you could then charge at the enemy and use your gun like a spear. This weapon isn't designed to hold a musket, a bayonet on the end of it, so instead, my sidearm is a sword. So if it came to hand-to-hand combat, I would have to drop my musket and use the sword as my weapon at that point. Now, there'll be other videos where I discuss the rest of the equipment that I'm carrying, so make sure that you tune into those, and thank you for watching.